Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome in today's session to all of the wonderful participants today. So today we are going to have a very wonderful topic of writing proposal. This is Salman here, the ambassador of Pakistan, IELTS International. I would like to first of all invite Dr. Rasheen Salahuddin, the director and the general secretary of IELTS International, for the opening remarks. And then are going to invite our today's session. So over to you, Dr. Rasheen.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for all the participants who have joined us today. And I'm really thankful to Dr. Noureen that she has taken out some time to enlighten us on this important topic. Because when the students want to write, research paper, they're usually stuck. They don't know how to write, what to do. So it is one of the important things that students, especially undergrad students, should know, because it is going to be very helpful to them in writing their thesis, in doing their higher studies as well. So over to you, Salman, for presenting the bio note of Dr. Nori. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Rasheen, the general secretary of IELTS International, for her opening remarks. And now, without wasting of time, I would like to invite our valuable speaker today for the very pertinent topic that is the need of today's time. So here we go. And I would like to invite Dr. Syeda Noureen Mumtaz, the assistant professor of University of Education, Lahore, in a warm clapping. So over to you, Dr.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me at the platform of IELTA. And I hope I could do justice to the selected topic because as we were sharing before, yes, research is by itself, I mean, it's difficult, but writing the proposal, I mean, that is the very footing stone, that is the very initial stage where many like us, when we had just started the journey, they find it pretty tough. So, considering that, I would like to begin with how to write your research proposal because that is the milestone and that is the I consider it very important. If successfully the students are able to come up with the right kind of proposal, I think the rest becomes a little easier because that's a complete roadmap for what is going to happen in future while they work on their dissertation. So here I go. You, yes. So here you will have the proposed title of your project, whatever you have decided. Then, of course, your name, your supervisor's name, your institutional affiliation, your department, etc. When we talk about the introduction, of course, it is topic which you have selected, which is close to your heart, and it should give the necessary background and the context, what you want to do, how you want to go about the whole thing. So this is proposal writing is basically outlining your problem statement and the research question. You get started. That's the very first chapter. That's the introduction, and it's very important to demonstrate that you are very well familiar with most of the things which you have, selected for yourself as a topic. A strong literature shows your scholarship, and it also tells us that, I mean, how much you have the knowledge about the past related to the area you have selected, and you have also a solid foundation in existing knowledge regarding the theory or the model which you are going to propose through your research proposal. Introduction also says that you are not simply repeating what other people have, talked about on the same topic, but there always try to look for the gaps in the study, right, when you select a topic for yourself. So that's the first thing. And then, of course, the introduction. And this is the point where the thing has to be very clear first to the researcher, the student himself, herself, and then later to the readers who are going to be involved in this at a later stage. All right. Introduction is precisely the section where exactly you will project and you will contribute to ongoing, work, to ongoing theories presented by other researchers. You compare and contrast the main theories, methods, the databases, and you examine the strengths and weaknesses of different approaches. You are simply trying to explain how you will build on, or in other words, what you will build on. What is the challenge which you have taken up for yourself? So that's a kind of, again, preparing the ground, preparing your reader when you are writing your introduction portion of the proposal. Literature reviews basically it's a survey of scholarly sources on a specific topic, of course, close to your topic, and it also provides an overview of current knowledge, which allows the researcher to identify the relevant theories, methods, and of course the gaps in existing research. So that's how you you are preparing yourself and you are, working on a very solid, relevant dissertation of yours. Literature review, again, there are 5 key steps which I would recommend to write. First is search for relevant literature. And secondly, evaluate the sources, then identifying the themes, databases, and gaps. And you have to outline the entire structure when you are writing the literature review for your proposal. And then you have to write the literature review for your proposal. And another thing which many candidates ignore, I think review should not be patchy. It should not be simply copied and pasted. It always has to have a link with what you are writing on. It has to be linked with your work throughout. So if you ask me about the list of keywords going into the literature, you will say that you start by creating a list of keywords related to your research question because they include the key concepts or different variables you are interested in to find out. So you can add to this list as you, work on the keywords of your topic, of course, keywords of your dissertation topic that will help you to pave the way for your literature review. That is how you would find out the relevant detail for writing your proposal. Again, we would say that social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, and the body image, self perception, self esteem, mental health, and I mean, these are some of the examples of some of the very popular topics. But again, the whole thing is how well prepared the researcher is to bring about the entire discussion into the proposal writing. So, we are still on literature review, how to write a good literature review for your research proposal. We say that a good literature review does not just summarize sources, it analyzes, synthesizes, and critically evaluates to give a clear picture from the start to the end about the subject, about the content. So, here I would simplify it for you. Like I said earlier, good literature review always has to be connected with your own work, what you are suggesting, what you are aiming to explore in your proposal. It shouldn't be patchy, it shouldn't be, inexplained. Avoid inexplained literature review. I mean, that doesn't create a very good impression on the reader. So here you are looking at if I mean, this is the abstract. It is some, what I talked through earlier. This is the example of what I just said. So here you have an abstract in front of you, and then you would, for yourself, you would pick the keywords. Normally, our students they write the abstract by the end of the proposal writing. Well, that is also correct. But if you go step by step, then I think that would be a better route for you. So, step one in your literature review is if you are writing the literature review section of a dissertation or research paper, you will search for literature related to your research problems and research questions because that is what will define your entire concept of your proposal writing. Step two to be followed in your literature review is that you make sure that the sources in which you are using are credible and make sure that you read the landmark studies or major theories in your field of the research. Step number three is that you summarize the prior work uh, and what is happening basically or has been happening in the past in your field. Literature review also helps readers understand what is known about without having to find and read through multiple sources. Literature review actually helps to set the stage for the readers about a theory, about any new philosophy on a given topic. So, in other words, they will provide helpful background and develop a complete context for the reader who are reading the proposal for the first time. Literature review should be like that. So, step four, if you're following it, literature review can also help the writer learn about a given topic and the process of preparing and the review itself in the act of research. And literature review, the writer gains expertise on the topic. So, basically, what I'm saying is the more you read on your related area, the more you skim and scan through your related area in terms of your topic, the better knowledge, the better understanding you would have for your proposal writing, especially the literature review writing section. Now, research methodology, that is, so far we discussed about two important, components of proposal writing. First, it was the introduction. Then we talked through the literature review, and now this is the third chapter, which is research methodology. Research methodology is actually the entire plan or structure as how you are going to conduct your research. So you discuss and you explain it. You discuss that collect the data. What is your plan for data analysis? What are the sources? What are the tools through which you decide to, collect your data? Then a key part of your thesis, dissertation, research paper. I mean, nothing is possible without explaining or giving a complete, thorough framework of your dissertation. So all thesis, all dissertations, they have to have this methodology section, and the name is chapter 3. So methodology chapter actually explains what you did and how you did it, and how you allow the readers to evaluate the reliability and validity of the research of your dissertation topic. Again, the issue of validity and reliability, I mean, consistency of the results and accuracy of the collected data, accuracy of the results, that is the major area. These are the major components when you will write your research methodology chapter. I hope things are clear so far. We are still on the methodology. The type of research you conduct, you have to be very sure about it. how you collect and how you would analyze data. That is also one important consideration of the researcher. And then any tool, any material which you have used, whether you are following a fast classical theory or it is your own device theory, you have to be clear on this. So, how you mitigate or avoid research biases, how is that possible for you? You will for sure talk about it. And why you chose this method. That is also important for the researcher to know and to explain in his or her proposal. We say that our methodology section should generally be written in the past tense, and academic style guides in your field. It may provide detailed guidelines. So, what to include for different types of study? Your citation style might provide guidelines for your methodology section. So, again, yes, you can take relevant examples, you can quote them, but again, the important thing is that mostly you speak about, you talk about, and explain your own methodology or theory which you are following in your own uh, proposal. So, how to write research methodology? Students also confront this major question as they are time confused on this. So, step one is that you explain your methodology approach. You describe your data collection methods, you describe your analysis method, and then finally you evaluate and justify the methodological choices you made. This is again the repetition of what I talked through earlier. If you will follow these steps, in other words, you are basically selecting your own, you're setting your own methodology, your own theory. Okay, now here you have some quantitative research tools because majorly we all know that research is divided into qualitative and quantitative. So some quantitative research tools are surveys. They describe where, when, and how the survey was conducted. And how did you design the questionnaire? Naturally, when you are following surveys, if it's a quantitative research, so you are designing questionnaires also to be administered among the respondents. So, what form did your question take? I mean, if it's multiple choice, Likert scale, yes or no, that is again up to the researcher. That's your, area. When your surveys conducted in one in person or virtually. I mean, now children can, send forward their surveys, their questionnaires through emails also. But the other, there are always two options available. Either it's virtually or in person. That's again no choice. What sampling method you are using to select your participants? And what was your sample size? And what is the rate of response to your statements in the questionnaire? So that is again, that is all the questions for the researcher to think about before jumping into the act of writing your research proposal. And believe me, maybe it sounds difficult, but actually, when you are into it and step by step you go about the whole thing, this is not difficult. It's only the terms are scary. Otherwise, I mean, it's possible. Why not? So, quantitative method examples, we said survey consisted. This is just this what you're seeing on your screen. That is again a little example. So the survey consisted of 5 multiple choice questions or 10 questions made on a 7 Likert scale. That's up to you to decide. Then the goal was to collect survey responses from 350 customers visiting the fitness apparel company. So, I mean, these are, you can read for yourself, these are simply the examples of how you would use the quantitative method in terms of survey and how you would shape your questions, your, decide on the Likert scale. Okay. So qualitative research tools, of course, if you are using the qualitative method, then the tools have to be differently selected. So the best and the most popular, I would say, tools for qualitative research are interviews or focus group discussion. They describe again where, when, how the interview was conducted, how did you find and select the participants, how many participants took part, and how long were the interviews. All of this is when you work on the interview protocols, you will think of all the possibilities. So qualitative method in order to gain better insight into possibilities for future improvement. Uh, this is how, please read it for yourself. This is how you would apply, you would fit your survey into a quantitative research. And this is the qualitative, talking about the sample and all that. Okay. Coming to the data analysis, if it's a quantitative analysis, if it's a qualitative analysis, the interviews, they should be transcribed, and thematic analysis would be conducted, involve coding all the data before. So while you read it, I explain this to you that in qualitative research, you would have to see what are the major emergent themes, the recurring themes, which are again and again, emerging from the data. You would code it, and that is called the themes actually develop. They lead to the finding. This is what thematic analysis is. That major themes would emerge, and then you would sum it up and put your story forward. Okay, moving forward. Yeah. Here, one important thing to mention that methodology section should clearly show how your methods suit the objectives and how you can the reader conceive that you close the best possible approach to answering your research problem, research questions, and statement of the problem. I mean, all of these sections which appear in your introduction, they have to be explained clearly for your reader. Now, research proposal, the main purpose of research proposal is to explain the background of the project work, meaning your dissertation. It helps to understand the key. I'm actually kind of giving you a quick revision of what we talked about earlier. So research proposal helps to understand the key concept of study, and it helps to identify the gaps in research area. Then you talk about its significance, how significant it is, and how it would, impact the other people, the other readers. Research question and its analysis into sub-questions are the key element of a research proposal. So again, what the problems are, what you are digging into, what you want to bring to the surface, all of this through your research objectives first, and then through research questions, we'll talk about them. So now the proposal writing. We have, let me tell you, talked about the three major areas, um, the three major chapters. First, it was the introduction. And introduction is again a combination of many things. You put your significance section there, how significant your research is, how it's going to impact people around you, other readers. Then you also talk about the statement of the problem in the first introduction section. Um, that how did you statement of the problem? Yes. So statement of the problem is what was a major problem? What actually compelled you to select this? So you very briefly you mention it there. Then you talk about research objectives, what was the motive behind. Then, based on the objectives, you come up with the research questions. There can be many, but if there are too many research questions, then it's better that have 4 to 5 major questions and then sub questions. So the list doesn't, have to be very long. Okay. So that was the introduction. Then we talked about the literature review and how, you prove your scholarship there. Some of the best renowned authors and researchers' work you have to showcase there along with your own ideas. Okay. Third was your methodology, your own work, more about your own work and less about, similar work. Now your proposal ends with the references section. That students don't understand that this is as important a section in your proposal as the any other thing. So incomplete references, references which are not according to the APA style, they are rejected, and I mean objections can be there. So what I'm showing you on the screen is some of the examples which you have to follow consistently throughout writing your references section in the proposal. It's in the end, but it is, like I said, it is as important as any other thing mentioned. Now, if it's the article reference, you are taking your reference from an article, that is precisely the way how you would cite it, how you would write it. So please, if you want to take, I'm sure Alta will share these slides with you. But if you want to take a screenshot, picture, anything, you're most welcome. Okay.
Okay,
Now,
thank you so much, Noreen. There were some people who were asking for the presentation. So if you
yeah.
can we paste it in the chat, people can, download it.
Uh, okay.
Yeah.
One thing can be, I'll send it to you and then you can further share it with your audience. Is that okay?
No, because we have people from Malakan, from Minhaj University, from UMT, from
Okay.
There,
Lebanon. So,
there, we have
yeah.
also
So
shared the attendance link, so they can share their email addresses on that. So we can also share through the email address.
okay, if that is convenient
As
to you, so Salman, you
yes,
can do that.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Should I continue?
yes, please, please.
Okay. Thank you. Now,
Uh,
we are on the references, which is the last section of your proposal writing. So, reference in running text. Running text is your chapter 1, your chapter 2, chapter 3. That's how you will use it in your running text. I mean, this is not a different section. This is when you are writing, you're quoting different people and their work. That's how you would cite it within your text. So that is another good thing which you will come to understand. Okay. Now, reference from a book. If you are quoting from a book, that's how you will cite it. So each, you will notice that each reference or each citation, the style is different from each other. And that is expected of the candidates to follow it while writing the references section. Follow it exactly in the way it's been shown to you. So if you are quoting from somewhere, some thesis or dissertation, that's how you will reference it. And I don't want to read through it because ultimately the slides are going to be shared with you. So I'm just trying to explain how it is. Now, here you will see, actually, it's a kind of template. So a sample of qualitative research proposal written in the APA format. So I'll just scroll through it, quietly so that you can understand it and you can follow it. Yes, all right. So this is the example of introduction. Of course, I can't show you the entire thing, but it's in glimpses you will see that this is how it's going to be placed within your proposal. So this was the template. Remember, it's a qualitative research. And here is chapter one or introduction section of your proposal, and that's how it's written. Now, that is the purpose of the study or statement of the problem. That is another thing which you will have to you'll have to make it actually part of your introduction. So this is how you would write it, you would place it there. I mean, this is something different, but of course, I'm not, I'm just telling you the way as how you would knit it together. This is the limitations of your study. So if you will read it for yourself, you will understand that, I mean, it would make sense to you basically, because this is a qualitative research, the sample, according to the template, I'm sharing it with you. Then earlier we talked about the theory of methodology as how to write it. This is a good example of how you explain your methodology section when you're writing your dissertation. And before that, of course, proposal writing. Okay. Your target population, you have to be very clear on that. You should know from where the data is coming from, and how you would. The technical part is how you would select, your population, your sample. From within that population, how would you select your sample? Okay, moving
I
on.
prefer. I would like to interrupt. Sorry for the interruption. If the
Yes.
meeting ends due to the technical issue, so I will resend the link, and it might take 1 minute. So don't worry about it.
Okay. All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll
Thank
hold
you.
on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure,
Thank
please.
you. Adapter.
You may continue until if it ends, so I will share it.
All right. So I continue. We are discussing the research design and procedures, meaning the methodology of your proposal, where you're writing your third chapter. Somewhere it's called the third chapter, or somewhere it's simply, without any chapter division. But that is your research design, basically, where you have to justify which research design you're using and why. Okay. So here you are looking at different samples. If you have selected for yourself a qualitative topic, that this is, you would take things into your hand and you will shape them. This is again, all interviews will be tape recorded and all that. Remember, we are going through the qualitative research topic and the handling of it in terms of writing your research proposal. Okay. All right, that brings us to the end of our first, section of the session, which was writing a good proposal by following different tips and following different, tricks, whatever you call it. And you can write whether it is the qualitative or quantitative, both ways